Marred by alleged vote buying, violence and peaceful voting exercise in some polling units, September 21, 2024 saw people of Edo State take to the polls in a political race for the #1 seat in Edo State. After months of intense politicking in Edo State, electoral umpire INEC on Sunday declared Senator Monday Okpebholo of the APC as the winner of the keenly contested gubernatorial election in the South State. On Viewpoint, where we discover perspective and embrace dialogue, I'm Olaitan Babatunde. With Odiawa, we zero in on the declaration that brings Senator Monday Okpebholo closer to achieving his goal on emerging governor and places his party on the cusp of return to power. Join us in the next phase of the show. You're welcome back to the show. How are you doing, Odiawa?
Perfectly fine.
Good to have you here this evening. Okay, so on Saturday, we talked about the electoral process in Edo State, and then, we spoke to some guests regarding the election. Can you briefly tell our listener what we talked about?
Well, actually, during the live show, the live session, we had to engage some guests, like you mentioned earlier on, and they had to give us reports regarding happenings in various polling units. Of course, you mentioned it in the first phase of the show, where it was marred with votes buying, which was quite pronounced. Other parties were dissatisfied with what was going on. Even though some polling units, actually, INEC had to get there late and voting had to be extended for some time, it was still concluded. It's not a case of where election was inconclusive. The winning party, which is the APC, actually said it was the freest of all elections. Definitely, they are the winners, so they will want to speak positively. But those who are dissatisfied would definitely have one or two grudges or complaints to give.
All right, thank you very much. Out of 17, 14 candidates contested for the #1 seat in the South State, but got less than the 3 frontline candidates, with Okpebholo of the APC securing 291,667 votes to defeat Asue Ighodalo of the PDP, who got 247,274 votes, and Olumide Akpata of Labour Party LP, who came a distant third in the race with 22,763 votes. With Senator Monday emerging as winner, what potential consequences might arise from the APC's victory of the governance of Edo State?
Well, first of all, we need to look at something relating it to the weather here now. If you go to other parts of the world, you hear winter, autumn, you also hear spring. Here in Nigeria, you have a dry season and rainy season. So it's going to be a case of the Edo people witnessing rainy season and dry season. Why I'm using this hyperbolic expression or simile is such that there's going to be change of policies. There are going to be change of administrative actions within the government house of Edo State. Why? Because the Obaseki administration would definitely be drastically different from the Okpebholo administration. Why? Because they want to serve the interest of each party. The manifesto of the PDP totally was entirely different from that of the APC. And the APC right from 2020 had been wanting to grasp power. Remember statements from the likes of Tinubu promising that he will win back Edo State for
the APC.
The APC. And now I think it has happened now. So we should see a situation change in policies, for instance, roads, infrastructure, probably education. There were rumors how far those alleged allegations were actually right is what we don't even know, whereby students actually are even paid. Students buy their way to even secure passing exams in the schools. And it's a situation whereby the candidate in which they have actually now has embarrassingly become the sacrificial lamb now because of Obaseki's mistakes. Is now a case whereby he would not be able to apply his technocratic values over there. But the Monday Okpebholo, not to sideline him or relegate him to the background, is also a people-oriented person whereby he carries people along. So the perception or mindset people will have about the individuals, not just the individuals alone now, but also the parties now in question, is also another game changer. Because it might we recall, once upon a time when, as 25 years ago, when Ighodalo had to come into power, Lucky Ighodalo of the PDP, he really messed up. And when he messed up, they said they didn't want him again. That was when the likes of Osumbo and Oshomole were actually coming on board to contest. Now, Osumbo, who was on the PDP ticket, and the Oshomole, who was on the APC ticket, found it difficult to even, win the hearts of the people. But Oshiomhole also had an edge coming from the NLC background. So it was that sentiment and that edge he used in surpassing the Osumbo administration. And people of the Edo State had to, sideline the PDP as at that point in time. Now, it's a case whereby we look at, you can see the administration of Lucky Ighodalo was plagued with all sorts of looting, maladministration, abuse of office, and also, we'll say, favoritism and nepotism also. But when the Oshiomhole administration came in, he brought in his NLC orientation. And people with that, because of the way he was fighting the government doggedly in his time as NLC president, he flew on that, that track record, making him grab the ticket of the Osadebe house. Now, getting that now, when power people get in, power begins to intoxicate. And once it intoxicates that, the next thing is for people to begin to do and undo. So probably people saw him as a threat. That's where the godfather figure now came in and decided to be sentimental by accepting that Obaseki should actually take over. So we should see a difference between administrations or policies now.
All right. Thank you very much. And we're looking forward to a better situation in Edo State going forward. Now, the People-Centric Party, Labour Party, has been quiet, particularly after the announcement of the result. But the PDP had called on the electoral umpire, INEC, to review the results submitted from the 18 local government areas before announcing the final outcome. Now, we know that majority of the election and the final result is always settled is always settled in the courts in Nigeria. Majority of elections, I can cite the Osun State election, for example. Even the presidential election that happened last year, it was sorted out in the court. Now, do we sense a feeling of dissatisfaction here?
Definitely, this political race is like any other sports. We should liken it to winner takes all and the loser has to go home. Definitely, the loser will always be dissatisfied or displeased. It's natural. The winner will always celebrate. When the PDP won, the APC was dissatisfied.
Yeah.
Now the APC has won, the PDP now is dissatisfied. We should also look at the track record of these parties. PDP on its own part, as at 25 years ago, had been a major dominant force within Edo State.
Yeah.
But now, because of the in-house squabbles, I think it's part of the crack now which other parties have capitalized on. It's like the scriptural saying, once there's a crack, the devil will capitalize or take advantage of it. Once upon a time, the APC also had that crack. The PDP took advantage of it. What point am I trying to make? The APC on its own part metamorphosed from AD, which was known as Alliance for Democracy, to AC, Action Congress, to the APC, and became a dominant force with major coalitions from different parties as at 2015. That was why it was able to bring in the likes of Oshiomhole. Now, if you look at it, the Labour Party, an underdog, became strong in 2023. So we saw the Labour Party coming in as a distant third. And coming as a distant third, it didn't even lack, together with other minor political parties, they didn't have this political panache or political finesse to actually grasp the power to face these major two parties. And if you look at it from the records, the APC had 200 and something thousand, the PDP also had 200 and something thousand, with the Labour Party having 2,000, which was quite poor.
Yeah.
But hopefully, we want to believe that they should actually begin to play ball like the likes of the APC and the PDP and become also instead of becoming the big two, they can actually become the big three.
We're looking forward to that, and we can only hope that the LP also meet up with the APC and the PDP, because over time in Nigeria, we know that the PDP party and the APC party seems to be the one controlling the country. Now, the concept of politics alienation can be explained through Obaseki interaction with his political allies before the election. What lesson can be drawn for Obaseki's political journey regarding the importance of alliance and relationship in politics?
Let's start with the story of the prodigal son.
Okay.
When he approached the father and said he wanted all his benefits, father gave it to him. He went into the world there, squandered everything, and then he was too ashamed to go back. You don't bite the finger that fed you. You must always show gratitude. That's loyalty. That is the essence of alliance. We watch medieval films. We see when some countries are lacking in a particular way, or some kingdoms are lacking in a particular way, and they don't have any choice other than to forge alliances with some countries or kingdoms that, okay, yes, they have the potential to also safeguard them. Now, in a situation whereby you begin to alienate or annihilate people, why? Because you have actually gotten there, it becomes a problem. To begin with, Obaseki on his own part actually got into or politically became active under the APC, under the wings of Oshiomhole. Now, when they began to have their fallout, he decided to sideline him. And upon sidelining him, why? Because it was a case of he wanted to start telling me what to do while I was in power. People became sentimental and decided to like toss him aside. And then APC showed him the way out. Now, it was while he was under the reign, the PDP decided to extend their umbrella, being an umbrella-oriented party now, to cover him and let the shame go away. Now, the likes of Danobi, who is a heavyweight in Edo State, just to mention a few, Yeson Wike, who is now FCT, former River State governor, who was also in the PDP. These are people he just cut off. So many offenses which he had actually, or so many toes which he had actually stepped on. 14 lawmakers, you refuse to swear them in. That's another issue on ground. Your deputy governor, you impeached for no logical, conclusive reason. So all these things are things which people begin to hold on to, and they decide to set a trap for you. And once you set that trap, you fall into it, and there's no way you can come out. Like I said earlier on, the only sacrificial lambs here now were Ighodalo and the deputy. So a situation whereby you begin to like beat people's fingers or step on toes that you ought not to have stepped on, just now it's also going to be waiting for you in front. That's the way I just see it.
I think, like you said, there was also a situation of him not respecting the leader of the Oba of Benin during his tenure. And we know that Edo State is a culturally oriented state, and these people takes their ruler as someone that they respect so much. Do you think this also has an effect in the decision of the people of Edo State voting for APC?
Well, we look at it, every leader must learn to follow, and every follower must learn to lead. Now, the Oba of Benin, as we speak now, is a god to the people of Edo State here on earth. A god. Not when I mean God, not the supreme being here. Now, he's someone who is respected or revered. Now, it's not a case of until he doesn't need to talk. It's his followers who will do the bidding, who will do the talking. And that's what played out. It's like you coming to disrespect someone's father. When you disrespect the person's father, the father might not necessarily react. It's the son who will react. It's maybe one nephew whom the father raised up that will come to react. So that's how the whole thing is. You don't expect to disregard people. Why? Because you feel you have already arrived. There are institutions that are in place. You cannot say the Prime Minister of the UK now will begin to disregard King Charles. It's not done. There are also consequences. That's where the cabinet now begins to impeach them. The shadow cabinet, which is now actually trying to make sure the Prime Minister who is currently there will actually flop, will now swing into action. And that is what has happened to Obaseki here now. It still boils down to not being able to alienate or annihilate people. Why? Because no man is an island. Imagine if you're an island now. For instance, now, let's use cooking utensils now. Or maybe, for instance, natural resources now. I have a treatment facility or a refinery now that has to process crude oil. But I don't have the natural resources. But a particular country has the natural resources, but doesn't have that treatment facility. That is where the alliance now comes in. You ink down documents or you sign documents. So a situation whereby you begin to insult someone who can feed you crude oil, or maybe I have the treatment facility and I begin to insult someone who has the crude oil, there won't be any form of cohesion or alliance that might benefit someone who doesn't even have anything at all.
All right, thank you very much. Now, the media probably played a significant role in shaping the public opinion about the candidates in poll. While we were interviewing some of the guests on Saturday, they all agreed to the fact that the media played a major role in the campaign and their strategy. Now, looking at the situation in Edo State, exemplifying the challenges of governance with political loyalty in Nigeria, how do you interpret the political strategy of the APC in leveraging Obaseki's past and present relationship for electoral gain?
Well, everything borders on loyalty. First of all, that was what I want to believe the APC must have really keenly capitalized on, because it was no longer loyal to Oshiomhole, like I said earlier on. And then when he decamped to the PDP, he was now no longer loyal to Danobi. These are heavyweights in both political parties, respectively. Now, other heavyweights are also still there. And there's no how you have to, like, you know, as a chief executive, whether at the state level or at the national level, you need the backing of the House of Assembly or National Assembly or State House of Assembly. Once you don't have the backing of those people, just know that impeachment is waiting for you in front. So that is why politics is all about arithmetics. If you're not able to be calculative, why? Because you need to please people's interests. It becomes a problem. Now, on the part of media playing a vital role, there are statements or utterances which you don't make particularly if they are unguarded statements. I remember in 2020, as of 4 years ago, they said Edo no be Lagos. These are statements you ought not to be making. Why? Because you want to spite your opponent. Or probably you make a statement also as of 4 years ago that if PDP doesn't win, the state will burn. These are indicting statements, and the Electoral Act actually states, in 2022 Electoral Act actually states that even during electioneering campaign, you do not make some unguarded utterances. But these are things that people have treated as an oversight. So all these statements are unwarranted, insightful enough to work against people. And if imagine making a statement 10 years ago and you've forgotten that you made such a statement, social media doesn't die unless maybe the server is dead, or probably maybe we're watching some Mad Max film and everything electronics or gadgets is dead. They can't revive such information, but somebody somewhere will definitely dig up that statement you made. For instance, maybe you were in a party before, you insulted another party, which you have not decamped to. It's happened to the likes of Atiku before. It happened to the likes of, just to mention a few. So that is what is actually haunting him now. I'm not saying that he is, I'm not trying to like saying that he is the only defaulter here. The APC also have members who have also defaulted in such capacity. Imagine looking at insulting a competitor's or a major candidate's wife. It's not, there's nothing bringing family matters or personal matters to politics. You people should dig it out because you're not serving families there, you're serving the people. So a situation whereby our politicians refuse to outgrow this sense or mentality of insulting people using personal differences, I think our politicians need to outgrow them. That's the way I see it.
All right.
Using social media to get at people.
Okay. Now, the perception of the electorate changed. Would you agree to this? Because looking at the situation of things last year, a lot of people came out to vote for the LP party. But looking at the situation of things now, it seems as though the gap between APC, PDP, and LP is a wide one. Do you think that LP already lost their hold on the people?
Well, I would say politics, like I said, is a game of arithmetics, calculations. The candidates which you bring out is of much importance. Earlier on in the initial phase of early this year, when the campaign started, the APC was undecided as to what candidates or who should actually come out. Okay. But there had always been this zoning principle because we have 3 senatorial districts, Edo North, South, and Central. So it has always been a tussle between Edo North and Edo South. Edo Central is more of a minority. So, and they also have a history of producing viable candidates right from the time of, just to mention, I've forgotten his name now, but somewhere along the line, I will remember. Now, Edo Central has a history of bringing out viable candidates, but now Edo South and Edo North have always been in power tussle or locking horns concerning the #1 seat now. Now, PDP on his own part saw it as a point or avenue to win the hearts of the Edo people. That's why I began by mentioning politics about being calculative. The APC earlier on had their squabbles, but they had to go back into the laboratory, like I said during the weekend when in the live session, and make sure they actually see what they can do to outrun or outsmart the PDP. Hence, following or adopting the strategy PDP adopted by bringing in a candidate from Edo Central. That was where the Labour Party actually lost it, by bringing in a candidate from Edo South. And this is somebody who has not been really politically aligned with the politics of Edo State. I'm talking about Olumide Akpata. He's just fresh in the game. But if you look at the candidacy of Asue Ighodalo, he had actually served under the Oshomole administration and also under the Obaseki administration. So you cannot say he's a newbie when it comes to politics over there. Coming to Monday Okpebholo, he had actually been in politics there. He's a people person. Number 3, he's also at the federal level. So his influence will be much more weightier than that of Asue Ighodalo. That's the way I will see it.
All right. So on a conclusive note, in what way do you think the political dynamics in Edo State election influence subsequent elections?
Well, nothing will always continue to last forever. Like Moses Neam said in a particular book, The End of Power, churches will one day become boardrooms will actually become boardrooms will become battlefields one day, and churches will actually become countries one day. Why is it that power will never continue to be what it used to be? This was actually a quote which I extracted from a book there in political science. Now, if you look at it, nothing lasts forever. There has now been a power shift now from the PDP and the APC. You don't expect to continue being in power all the time. And it's a situation whereby the Edo people have actually seen that if you're not performing, the next person is in line. You step aside and let this person bring what he has to offer to the table. Your manifesto also has to be sellable. And how people will even emulate and accept your manifesto is another thing. And don't just bring a manifesto to confuse or deceive people because you want to get into power. Upon getting into power, there's need for you to even deliver because your image here is at stake. The image of the party also is also at stake. So it will now give you subsequent opportunities for your own party, or maybe probably you recommend someone in next elections. Okay, this person is trustworthy. We can vouch for this person. That's the way I see it.
All right, we can only hope for the best for the people of Edo State. The show has been Viewpoint, where we discover perspective and embrace dialogue. And I'm still Olaiton Babatunde, and with me in the studio is Odiawa Hiai. Thank you for filling in as our analyst today. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us across all social media platforms. Thanks for watching.